From Denver 7, this is 7 News.
Welcome back. Although Mother Nature has been doing the bulk of the irrigating lately for us, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be thinking about and even tweaking, upgrading perhaps your home sprinkler system. Joining us this morning is Chris Willis from the Associated Landscape Contractors of Colorado. Chris, thanks for coming in this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, you brought a whole bunch of props with you. And first things first, if people are just firing up those systems, we did have that freeze last October, and there could be some damage people need to be aware of. Let's start there. What do we need to look for as far as potential problems?
Yes, thank you. Basically, this is a backflow valve that all systems have on the side of the house, and we had the freeze back in early October. It dropped down to 16 degrees, and these internal components in here, if it wasn't drained, all of them received some type of damage. And this is a bonnet and poppet assembly.
Okay.
And this usually freezes, so when they turn it on, water will be shooting out all over the place.
It'll be pretty obvious you have a problem then.
Oh yes, or these ball valves will be cracked right here. Turn it around this way so we can see. If that happens, you want to call a professional from the Associated Landscape Contractors of Colorado to get that fixed.
How much does it cost to fix something like that?
Typically, it's around $100.
Okay.
So, you know, the best thing to do is to get it properly winterized in the fall.
And okay, now we know what to do for this coming fall and what we would need to do to get things working. Now, you also brought in a few things to show people if they are thinking about upgrading their systems or maybe even installing a sprinkler system, what are some options we have, and are they inexpensive or from inexpensive to more expensive?
Well, I mean, basically you want to do whatever you can to get the right amount of water to your lawn. What I did bring in here was the different types of heads that exist. Here's a rotor head, which average shoots about 30 to 40 feet. And here's a spray head, which covers a smaller amount of area. And the technology we got on these is there's swing pipe attached to them. And if you see that way if someone steps on it or something like that, it's not going to break.
Okay.
There's a lot of breaks that happen by old technology, which is cutoff nipples. If you could see right here, you know, someone steps on it or goes like that, it breaks.
Oh, yeah, it just snaps.
So in parks and in high-use areas, this is a little bit more universal, as you can see.
And is this some new technology that we're seeing?
It's been out for a little while, but, you know, more and more people, whenever we change out heads, we change it out to swing pipe.
And as we look at those heads, oftentimes you walk by somebody's yard and there's water shooting all over the sidewalk. Is that a matter of the type of head that you use for a certain part of your yard, or is it just a matter of making sure your stuff's spraying in the right direction?
It's making sure it's spraying in the right direction. And typically, every year when you turn on your system, you need to go through and properly adjust your heads, which means, you know, the rotor heads could be shooting into the street, into the sidewalk. Special tool right here, you stick it in, you adjust it, and you start off with the right stop on the concrete and work its way around.
Okay.
However, the right head for the right area is very important. And this spray head puts out more precipitation than this typical rotor, but there's a little nozzle right here that gets the area below the head itself, because that area always dries out. So you got to make sure, and you can quickly grab it like that and adjust it properly.
All right, and finally, let's talk about timing. How long should we be watering our yard? I know Denver Water, for example, has some specific guidelines, but if you're setting your timer, what's a good rule of thumb?
Well, typically, rotors will operate about a half an hour per cycle, and sprays about 10 minutes per cycle. Now, all depending upon the weather that we get and how hot it is. And a typical timer right here, one thing that we should always do every year is we should change out the battery.
Okay.
Because what happens if you have some programming set up, you get any type of voltage or, you know, the power goes out, you will lose your programming. And then it defaults back to most timers 10 minutes every day.
Okay, good to know. Chris Willis, thanks so much for coming in this morning and sharing that valuable information
My
to
pleasure.
all of us. And for more information, just log on to thedenverchannel.com and click on that big red TV button.